Please introduce yourself and explain your engineering field.
Okay. It, am I
Yeah.
looking straight at the camera? So just look straight at it. Alright. So, hello. My name is Andy. My last name is Ortiz. I majored in school and I have a mechanical engineering background. And what I do now is that I work at a what's called an MEP firm, and I design like HVAC systems, the air conditioning systems that go in every single place that has AC. That's what I do.
Uh, can you describe your job title using 3 words?
3 words. Let me think about this. All right. Brand new designer.
Okay. What's your educational background chronologically?
So like I have a high school degree, and then I have a college degree from SMU in Dallas, and I majored in mechanical engineering.
Can you tell us about your daily day at work?
Yeah, that usually depends. It has a range of things. It really just depends on where a project begins. So the HVAC systems that I design go into buildings. So for it just depends on the size. It could be from anything small, from office space to hotels. So that just differs. Um, the process is maybe the same from start to finish, but it's much more complicated as the scope of the project gets bigger. So, like when I today I started a project for some office space. What I did was we use this thing called Revit, which is uh, another word for CAD, which means computer aided design. So I have to work with an architect, where the architect will draw the building in 3D, and then I get the 3D model, and then I put my work in the 3D model. So today I set up the 3D model for everyone to use, and then when I finished that, because it was a small one, I did it in half the day. Then I'll do what's called a load calculation, where you identify the space and you start factoring it into this program. All right, what's in the space? The whole point of a load is, how you have a thermostat in your house, and it you can control the temperature, and if usually it's like 75 degrees. So the system that I designed has to provide the space at 75 degrees, but that comes in different factors. If you look at a room, like let's say this room, we have windows. The sun comes through that. That's heat. That's something that I have to take into consideration. I have to take into consideration how many people are going to be in the space. Um, what's the space used for? Are people going to be running in it? Or are they going to be sleeping in it? And what kind of electronics you have in there, because that gives off heat as well. So all of that, you kind of put it together, and so it's what you call a load. So I look at a room and I'm like, well, all right, what's it used for, and what temperature do I need to get it can be cool. That's for the summer, and it works in the exact same opposite in the winter. So
Thank you. What would you say is the best part of your job as a mechanical engineer?
uh, I guess once you design a system and you see it and it's being used somewhere, like you'll pass by the random building and be like, "Oh, I did the design work for that building." That's kind of cool because like you did it. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Do you have a least favorite part of your job?
yes, I do. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, please.
Something they don't teach you in school is where you have to deal with other people. At school, maybe you have friends that kind of help you get along, but once you get into the real world, you have to deal with people that maybe you don't like or maybe you don't get along with. And because you do have a job and you do have a responsibility, you have to make it work. and it's hard because people can be mean for no reason, and it's dealing with that. It's what you call the soft skill, just dealing with people. That's probably the hardest part.
How many hours do you work a week?
A week, it ranges from 45 to 50. So.
Why did you decide to become a mechanical engineer?
What did I decide? I remember in high school, I didn't know, like senior year, I didn't know what I wanted to be. And there was a book a teacher had, and I just remember starting reading through them. And like, oh, mechanical engineer. Because the misconception about a mechanical engineer, as soon as someone says that, they think about cars.
Yeah.
But it's so much more broad than that. Yes, you can do cars. You can do planes. You can do manufacturing. You can do I'm trying to think of another type of design work, or you can do research too with that. It's a very broad, like everything that I learned in school, I don't use all of it because it's all these different fields that you can use. So I like that idea of being versatile. Like, okay, I can go and do that, or I can go and do that. That was the flexibility of it was what attracted me to it.
Tell us about a problem you have encountered and how you solved it.
I think the hardest part for me is I've only been one for 3 years, so I'm still fairly new. So a lot of what I have to deal with is when I'm designing something, I don't know all of it yet. Someone has to go in and check my work and be like, okay, you missed this or you missed that. And that's probably the most frustrating thing that I deal with right now, because it's still all very new to me. It's just kind of getting into that rhythm of it. So what I have to do now is, what I've been developing is kind of like a checklist for myself once I'm done with the design, to go back and check my work myself and like, did I do this? Did I do that? I think that's probably what's helping me a lot right now, because that has happened to me before. Recently I had to deal with something what's called a chilled water system, where you have an AC system that uses water instead of air for cooling, and like I'd never done that before, so like, and now I know, but I struggled with it.
Describe your first day of work.
My first day of work. I remember just being overwhelmed because it was a big office. It's 50 people, so you could easily. I think I got lost in the whole crowd, because I walked in and everybody was doing their job. Like nobody kind of. It was very busy. No one kind of looked up. Everybody said hello, but it's not like, oh hey, let's have a conversation. It's like you see people working, and like I was like, oh, I guess I kind of have to do that now, but. Because it was my first day, I was just trying to learn people's names and where things were at. But it was pretty hectic. Yeah, just watching everybody busy. Yeah.
Is there any tips or advice that you would give to people who want to major in this field?
Yes, take math and science is very important. If you're in high school right now and you can take calculus, I would do that, because that helps you in college to get some math stuff out of the way. For an engineering in college, your coursework is very math and science heavy. So it's not like, oh, I can go take a photography class, or you don't have that flexibility. So maybe if you do take these math classes early on in high school, maybe you can do a little bit more fun stuff in college. I'm not saying it's boring, but I mean it's challenging work, and if you can help yourself beforehand, like, just go ahead and do that.
And how would you describe your classes in college, like your engineering classes?
it's very heavily math and science based. You have the professor teaching you this theory about heat, and then here are the equations that relate to this theory and how to solve the problem. It's very math and science. I loved math's it's not my strong suit. I can use it. It's a skill that I have, but I really loved the science part of how things work. They go together. So that's kind of what I focused on, the science part of it. Yeah.
Well, is there anything you would like to add about your job?
Can you be more specific so that I can?
Yeah, like, is there anything that I didn't ask that you would like to describe about your job? Like, just overall.
It's a lot like school sometimes, where you have deadlines. Like you have to turn in something on Friday, but you also have something to turn in on Wednesday. So if you can manage your time in school, I think you do pretty well. The work that I do isn't too complicated. The complicated, the complication comes where you have to deal with other people because you're doing one part of your design and somebody else has to do another part, and you have to all reach at the end together. And that doesn't always happen. That's why I said the people thing was very important. Because if you can stay on top of what you're doing and have it ready, you'll be fine. But it's a team thing. It's not an individual type of work. You have to work with other people because you can't do everything yourself. So be ready for that. Be ready to get out of your comfort zone. Get ready to be uncomfortable. Get ready not to know. Get ready to be kind of scared because that fear kind of drives you. If it really does get to you, like how do I become better? Like, get ready for that. I didn't. No one told me that in school. I learned all the science and the math. Like, okay, I get that. I was able to understand that. But once you get into the real world, it's completely different from that. You have a responsibility. You have to. If someone gives you a job, you have to be able to finish it. You have to be responsible. Here, it's done. There is no, I'll turn it in tomorrow. Maybe sometimes that happens. Something changes, but no one's there to hold your hand.
Yeah.
So that's what's being an adult about. That's what it means to be an adult, like responsible.
Well, that would be it. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you, Karla.